I'm Jane Velez Mitchell, bringing you the very latest breaking news on a story that I've been following for quite a while, a proposal to build a monkey facility in Hendry County, Florida, and import, reportedly, allegedly, 3,200 monkeys from outside the United States into Hendry County, Florida, to breed them for laboratory experiments. Straight out to Christopher Berry. And Chris, you are an attorney for the Animal Legal Defense Fund. Tell us why you want to stop this facility.
Well, thanks for having me on, Jane, to talk about this incredibly important issue. Animal Legal Defense Fund filed this lawsuit against Hendry County for violating Florida's Sunshine Law, which generally requires that anytime this county makes any sort of important decision-making function, that has to be done after public notice at a public hearing so that the public has some input into this. We filed the lawsuit on behalf of residents of the county who live in the neighborhood that's immediately adjacent to this facility.
It has been filed in Hendry County after the county approved a primate breeding facility. The Animal Legal Defense Fund filed a lawsuit on behalf of Hendry County residents, citing concerns about the potential spread of Ebola. The facility could hold as many as 3,200 long-tailed macacos, which have been linked to Ebola. Reports show Hendry County approved the controversial project behind closed doors, with only the facility's supporters present for that meeting.
We're asking that the county's approval of this facility be recognized as void because it was done secretly behind closed doors without any public input, and that the county must reconsider this at a public hearing.
As a matter of fact, the Fort Myers News Press, the news press in that area, the headline is "Monkey Suit, Hendry County Defends Secret Facility." And I'm going to quote from the news press article, and it says right here, when Hendry County approved a controversial primate facility without telling the public or inviting its comment, it didn't violate Florida's Sunshine Law, said County Administrator Charles Chapman. So this is an article in response to this lawsuit. Donnie Moss of TheirReturn.net, you reached out to the county, and you attempted, I understand, to reach out to the company that is behind this, that wants to build this facility. What have you learned?
I did manage to reach one local official, and I asked her whether or not construction of this facility already began. She assured me that it had not, and that in fact contradicts what we've seen in some of the local press reports. I also asked whether or not this lawsuit would delay construction of the project, and that she wouldn't answer. She referred me back to the press release, Jane.
Now, I know that when I spoke to a Florida State Senator, Dwight Bullard, he, a while ago, had expressed concerns about infectious diseases coming into the United States. And I know that Primera Science Center, the company that has issued a statement on this that says that it is behind this, that this is a company that is trying to build this, says that all of these concerns about infectious diseases are completely unwarranted because there's a quarantine process, and they also said that they have complied with the letter of the law up and down and sideways and done everything exactly as they're supposed to. So I want to go back to Chris Berry, because obviously Ebola is in the news. Obviously Ebola is a global crisis right now, and we know that people with Ebola have come into the United States. And so the CDC has been criticized for its response to the Ebola crisis. There have been major mistakes made where there were news conferences held talking about how the system failed to prevent Ebola from coming into the United States. So what are the concerns that were raised by the residents about that issue, and how does that reflect with your lawsuit?
Well, there's a lot going on there, Jane, and it ties back to Hendry County's response to our lawsuit, where they said that this was just a routine decision that didn't require any kind of public hearing at all. But that's simply false. The Hendry County ordinances define agriculture as animal husbandry, which in turn is limited to domestic animals. And the reason this is important is largely, I think, because of this zoonotic disease threat. And primates, of course, are very closely related to humans and can carry a whole host of diseases, not just Ebola, but also including herpes B, which if you're bitten by a monkey with this virus, is fatal 70% of the time if you contract it, tuberculosis, parasites, and other diseases. So there's a huge zoonotic disease transmission risk associated with primates such as the ones that are reportedly going to be at this facility.
Anybody from Hendry County who wants to come on and talk about this on my show, facebook.com/Jane Velez Mitchell, commissioners or county executives, you're invited on. Anybody from Primera Science Center, we would love to talk to you because it's been difficult to reach you. In fact, Donnie, you reached out to Primera Science Center to try to contact them. What was your success there or lack thereof?
Well, like many other reporters who have reached out to Primera, there has been no response. In fact, the website does not have a phone number. You have to fill in an email contact form. Now we know what the reaction is. The public is outraged that 3,200 monkeys are being transported into Central Florida near a residential area. They shouldn't be allowed there.
Well, Primera Science Center did issue a statement, and it was a lengthy statement. And again, I can tell you that they say they've done everything to the letter of the law.
This type of facility needs oversight, and the public has a right to know who is going to be running this facility and whether they're qualified to do so.
Well, we shouldn't talk about it as if a fait accompli, that it's actually going to happen. I mean, it's a planned facility, but according to Donnie, they claim that it hasn't even been built. Now, I know that there was a facility in Puerto Rico that was actually built by a company that wanted to breed monkeys for experimentation, and it never got to open, even though it was already built, because the Puerto Rican Supreme Court decided that they hadn't followed the proper procedure. So tell me, Chris, who are these people in the neighborhood who are your plaintiffs? What are their concerns? What have they said to you or to ALDF?
Yeah, I mean, they're concerned about a lot of things. But the primary concern that I've heard from them is they don't know enough to feel safe. They don't know enough to feel comfortable because information hasn't been provided to them, because the county hasn't been forthright about its approval of this facility. And all of a sudden, there's going to be thousands of primates. There's going to be trucks potentially pulling up to transport them. There's going to be a high security barbed wire fence surrounding the facility, and it's going to change the character of the neighborhood. But certainly the most important concern is having grandchildren over and the possibility that maybe these monkeys are going to escape, or perhaps that people will contract diseases who work at the facility and spread that throughout the community. And these are valid concerns, and there ought to be information so that they can be answered.
Well, Donnie Moss, I know that a Florida State Senator, Dwight Bullard, had said publicly that they should put a hold on this pending a public hearing.
There should most certainly be a public hearing, but I understand why the county doesn't want to have one. Because not only are people outraged about the public safety risks, some have voiced concerns about animal cruelty. We are moving away from primate testing, and here we are opening a facility that is going to send monkeys to labs around the country. And we know from footage that's been recently released by the media that monkeys in laboratories are often tortured. I don't know if you saw the maternal deprivation footage that brought so many of us to our knees, Jane. These studies are being done, they're redundant, they're unnecessary. The animal experimentation industry would like us to believe that all of these studies are being conducted to save lives, but that is bogus, Jane. Most of these studies are utterly unnecessary.
We're going to stay on top of this, and once again, anybody from Hendry County, anybody from Primera Science Center, you are invited on. I want to talk to you. We want to get all sides of this story, and we want to speak for the voiceless monkeys.